Hi, my name is Kevin Larrabee. It is January 1st, literally as we're recording this, and this is going to be a great talk for everyone out there that wants to make long-term changes in their life, especially when it comes to fitness and nutrition, body composition, strength, whatever it might be. This talk is going to be invaluable for people that are trying to make changes in their lives, in their health, for both adults and for athletes. This is going to be a great talk for anyone that just really wants to make sure whatever goal that they set to achieve, they're really stacking the deck in their favor. And it's not really complicated. It's just really about having a plan, having solutions for the problems that could come up along the way, and just having a really good roadmap to help you get wherever you want to go. And that's where we're going to really get started, figuring out where you want to go, why you want to get there, why it's really important. We have to have a really good emotional connection with whatever that might be. We'll talk about that more in a second. So first, we must avoid the goal-setting pitfalls. What are those? We have to have a clear understanding on what's driving the goal. A lot of times it is a lot more emotional than we think it is. We'll get to that in a moment. We have to avoid going too extreme or going too fast, avoiding these 14, 28, 38-day diets or cleanses or programs that are supposed to fix everything. They rarely do. That's why we have been sold these for decades and decades, saying this is going to be the solution for you. I know nothing has worked in the past, but this is going to be the solution. And then what ends up happening is just constant relapses of failure, which is what is a big problem in our fitness industry specifically, because it leads to people thinking nothing will ever work, which is not true. What they really need is something that is a little bit more long-term, focuses on behavior change and long-term progress with all this stuff. We'll get to that more in a second. Social support, understanding that it might not be there or it could work against you. So what that might be is when your friends or family start seeing you making progress, they might do some things, while not consciously, they might do it subconsciously. They might be trying to sabotage your progress, trying to, pull you out to a restaurant to get a bunch of pizza or, to drink a bunch, whatever it might be. They might not want you to succeed, even though they're your friend, they're your family member. Of course, they love you, but sometimes they might do that subconsciously because they are, sometimes jealous of your progress. So we need to be conscious of that. Do you have plans when everything isn't perfect? Do you have contingency plans? What happens when things go wrong? Those are all really, really important. So we need to make sure that we avoid some of these goal-setting pitfalls that have people doing great for 6 days, and then on Saturday, things kind of fall apart. When the weekend comes, weekends are really actually one of the things where people have the most struggle with is on weekends. So we'll get to all that in a moment. So having clear and concise goals, all about asking yourself, or if you're the coach, asking someone else the right questions. And sometimes it's about asking those questions over and over and over again, actually. What is your goal? Can you quantify it? Do you have a clear understanding of what that goal is? What does that finish line look like? If you don't really know what it is, if you kind of have an idea what it is, it might make that, that progress a little bit less likely to succeed. You got to have a real clear understanding of what you want to do. Otherwise, especially me as a coach, it makes it a lot harder for me to help you get to where you want to go. But that's why it's really on you. If you're working with yourself, if you're just setting goals for yourself, you have to make sure that you are real with yourself, you are open, and you are emotional, and you're asking the right questions. It's the same thing that I do with anyone that I work with. Have a really good understanding and drill down into figuring out exactly what they want to do, why they want to do it. The why is very important. Try to avoid numbers for weight loss. Try to just avoid saying, I want to lose 10 pounds. Sometimes that can be okay, but what can be a lot more powerful is for folks like who have clothes that they used to fit in. Sometimes it's about fitting into an old pair of jeans, or going down a shirt size, whatever it might be, or a pant size. That can be a lot more powerful than just saying, I lost 10 pounds, especially if you're getting into a fitness program. You have to keep in mind, you could be losing body fat and gaining muscle. So having that number set up can actually be kind of counterproductive, because what you could end up happening is you might actually stay the same weight, but you're getting leaner. That's an experience we have a lot here at Allied Strength. Is people are like, yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm like only down 2 pounds from when I started training a couple months ago, but I'm down like 4 pant sizes, or like that's the stuff that's actually a lot more powerful to people than stepping on a scale and saying, oh, I've lost 10 pounds, yay. That's usually not as powerful as fitting into a bathing suit or a dress or a pair of jeans or a shirt or just old clothes that people love to wear that they can't wear anymore. That's really a lot more powerful. And of course, it's what you see in the reflection of the mirror. That's why I try to have people avoid stepping on the scale every single day, because you might not actually see that number go down consistently because you could have that muscle gain. What is your time frame? Is it realistic? Again, if you're trying to do something in like 14 days, you can't do a lot in 2 weeks. Even in 30 days, you can't make a lot of change. You can't make a ton of progress. You might be able to lose 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 pounds, depending on where you're starting from and what you're doing. But you have to really be realistic of what your time frame is. Are you in this for the long haul? Or are you just doing it for one thing and then you're going to regress back to where you were previously? That's a really important question to ask and for you to figure out. And again, we'll talk about this in a second, but okay, why is this goal important to you? Okay, well, why? We get to ask kind of 5 whys. It's kind of a technique that was used. I believe it was back at Toyota, trying to figure out solutions for problems that were popping up, trying to figure out, the whys can be really emotional, and that's good. It's good when it's emotional. It allows you to dig a little bit deeper. So this is why actually we'll get into this more in a second. Again, really, why is it important to you? How does your life change? How is it different if you achieve this goal? What changes? Does this mean that you're able to ask that person out? Does it mean that you are able to feel more comfortable when you're flying a bunch and you're able to fit better in the smaller and smaller economy seats that we have today? What changes? What really changes? Or, mentally, do you feel more confident? Maybe. But those are the questions that we need to ask. So this is kind of like what it looks like. Again, don't love numbers, but this is usually where we start. Someone walks through my door, they say, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, something like that. Same thing, this might be you. You might say, yeah, if I lose 10 pounds, everything will be great. Okay? Well, why do you want to lose 10 pounds? All right, because I have a trip to Hawaii coming up. Okay. Well, why is it important that you lose 10 pounds for this trip to Hawaii? Well, there's this bathing suit that I love that I haven't fit into in the last year or two, and I really want to wear this bathing suit. Okay, well, why is that important to you? What does that mean? Well, it means that now I feel confident in this bathing suit. This is a body that I had a couple of years ago, and I felt great in it. And things have just been crazy, and I haven't been exercising as much. I haven't been eating as well as I did in the past, and it's really important for me to kind of get back into that healthier position. Okay, why is that important? Because I will not only be and look strong, but I'll be healthier. You can never discount the power of someone getting stronger, male or female, when they are able to lift things that they weren't able to lift before. A lot of times with that strength comes reduced low back pain, reduced knee pain, joint pain that they've dealt with for years. It allows them to live the life that they want to live and not wake up the next day feeling like they got hit by a car. They can go hike a mountain. They can go kayaking. They can go surfing. They can really do all these physical activities that they might think, oh, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. No, when you can do those things, it can be incredibly powerful and motivational. It can have an incredible impact on your life. And again, why? Why? You literally want to ask this question until nothing else comes back from the person that you're talking to or from yourself. When you're doing this one-on-one, I should say by yourself, you should be writing all this stuff down. and be real with yourself. Try to be as open as possible. I'll mention this in a second, but it's also really powerful if you have a close friend or family member who you trust to ask you these questions. It can sometimes be more beneficial to have someone else ask you these questions and for you to ask yourself, because sometimes we can be very dishonest with ourselves. We can really make up these situations that justify the things that we do to ourselves, but when we have someone else asking these questions, it can be a lot different. So step 2, draw the map. What does the road to this destination look like? Okay, we know where we want to get. How do we get there? Let's start at that destination. Let's work our way backwards. What do we need to do? A lot of times it's making small behavior changes and not doing everything all at once. When you do everything all at once, when you make extreme changes, when you do something extreme like that, it leads you to failure. It sets yourself up for failure almost every single time. So what I like to do is start by being additive. Okay, what can I add to what I do right now, to my daily life, to help me get to where I want to go? You know what I could do? I could walk for 30 minutes every single day. You know what I could do? I could join a gym. I could join a program. I could get personal training. I could start drinking water, more water, trying to get like 1.5 liters to 2 liters of water every single day. I could consume more protein. When we are additive, we end up seeing those changes without having to be incredibly restrictive. Restrictions, while they may be needed eventually, at the start, they can be very detrimental. It can make someone completely just say, like, I'm not doing this, screw this. Like, that is not going to help anybody. But when we are additive, like things I usually work with like really my adults and athletes is first, okay, are you drinking enough water? Great. Are you getting enough protein every single day? Protein is really simple, and it's why I sell protein powder at my gym. I make sure these folks have solutions to things like, I never have time to eat breakfast. You don't have time to put water in a shaker and 2 scoops of protein and shake it up? And I will literally say, like, if they say no, I will say, all right, be back 1 second. I'll walk into my office, I'll put some water in a shaker, I'll put 2 scoops in, and then I'll time it. I'll say, all right, how much time did that take me? It took me 90 seconds to consume that, to make it, consume it, and then clean it. That's it. You tell me you don't have 90 seconds, you can't wake up 90 seconds earlier to have breakfast in the morning or to have lunch in the afternoon because you're crazy. Protein powders they're supplements, but they're supplemental to lack of protein in someone's diet. They are convenient. Same thing with like protein bars. If you can find a good quality protein bar, they can be convenient to make sure that we can stay on track, or just to help start pushing the car if we're out of gas. Just get that car moving. So always focusing on solutions. So again, it'll be water, it'll be protein, and then it will actually be sleep. How much are you sleeping every single night? How can we do better at helping set up sleep, habitual sleep practices? Well, what do we do 2 hours before we go to sleep, 1 hour before we go to sleep? What do we do once we're in bed? How do we make sure that we are consistent with the amount of sleep that we're getting and our sleep schedule? Sleep can be incredibly powerful. It can make sure you have plenty of energy. It makes you less likely to lead to consuming junk food to try to get some of that energy back. It can help with hunger, satiety, things like that. So yeah, sleep, water, protein, and then we go from there. What do you need to do daily, weekly, monthly to get there? Again, this is kind of like what we just talked about. Every day, I'm going to make sure I have 2 liters of water. I'm going to make sure I exercise for at least 30 minutes every single day. Exercise doesn't need to be jumping into a place like this. It could be go walk your dog for 30 minutes. Awesome. It could be 5 minutes of that could be just taking the stairs when you get to work, and then taking the stairs on the way down once you leave work. It could be when I'm at home, I am just going to make sure that I stand up every 10 minutes because I want to make sure that I'm moving. It could be foam rolling. It could be doing some mobility stuff like in your living room at commercials while you're watching TV. Whatever it might be, you got to get started somewhere. It could be 10 minutes a day, whatever it is, just get started and continue to add on top of that. What is the most important behavior change or habit to work on first? What's the first thing that you need to do? And usually this will be, front of mind for a lot of the people that I work with. They will know exactly what the first thing that they need to change is. A lot of times it is, I drink too much on the weekends for adults. I need to cut back on my drinking on the weekends, or it could be, I need to make sure that I just turn off my cell phone an hour before I go to bed, because I'm on my cell phone and sitting in bed for an hour before falling asleep, and then it messes up my sleep patterns. Sometimes it is, I need to make sure that I'm actually having fruits and vegetables, or having more protein in my diet. I need to stop going to fast food so often. What's the first thing that could have the most impact? A lot of things, it's what is the easiest thing I can do first? Let's do the easy thing first, and let's get some wins in. Let's get some notches in the win column before we start having to go in to do the harder things that might actually just lead to failure. Failure's okay, but we need to have some wins to make sure that we can bounce back from it quickly, get back on track. It's like whenever you get lost, right? Whenever we're traveling, even with our Google Maps and our Apple Maps and stuff, whenever we get lost, we need to have, some sort of solution. And to be honest, we need to have the energy and the enthusiasm to get back on track. What hasn't worked in the past, and why? Remember where your failures took place. Those failures don't need to be anything but great lessons. You can learn a lot from your failures and take them as just that, lessons. So next time this thing comes up, I know that this didn't work, so I will do this instead. It's a better way to help you find solutions. So what do you do if you get lost? Contingency plans, past experiences. What do you do when this is a big one with people that I work with. Everything gets messed up when I'm traveling. When I'm flying, I'm staying in hotels. I don't have, my normal gym practices. I'm very busy. I'm taking red-eye flights. What do you do when that happens? A lot of times it is, all right, well, we know where you're traveling. A lot of times I'll actually take a look at whatever gym is at the hotel that people are training at and be like, all right, if you give me 20 minutes, we can get in a good workout, and that way you can just stay on track. You don't have to do 100%. Even if you do 50%, that can allow you to continue that momentum that you had going forward. Social events are a big one. What do you do when you're surrounded by, all these things that are trying to pull you off track, whether it be food or drinks, or people saying, hey, let's get this, or, man, here, have some of this. What are you going to do for those social events? And also, for people that are making changes, like I said, they can be very stressful. It can lead to saying yeah, I'm just going to relax. Sometimes relaxing is okay. You don't need to be 100%, 100% successful all the time with this stuff. You have some room for some error. But again, making sure that we can get back on track is really important. Focus on solutions. Okay, you went off your nutrition goals for the week. Now what? Okay, let's put that behind us. Let's get back on track. What are we going to do next time that situation pops up? What are we going to do? Have some solutions in place. A lot of times it could be, as simple as, I'm going to have a protein shake. Again, with protein, the cool thing about it is it can help with satiety. It can really fill you up. So it kind of kills that hunger that you have right now. They tend to be sweetened a little bit, usually with artificial sweetener, but that can help reduce your cravings for other things, especially if you have a protein powder. If you're really into chocolate, having a chocolate protein powder or a chocolate peanut butter protein powder, those can be really, really helpful. Focus on solutions. Have those contingency plans. Okay, actually it's 4 steps. Community is a really big part of it as well. This is probably where we see the most failure in gym settings, is when people join a health club and they have no idea what they're doing. This is a big thing that I talk about with folks in the industry, and how we need to be doing a better job, whether it's at a big health club, big box gym, or even a smaller gym, what does that community look like? Is it inviting to people that have no idea what they're doing, they've never done anything like this before, and that are really intimidating by a setting like this? Now, I have people that can walk into a boardroom and own the place, but when they walk into a gym, it's like walking into a foreign country without any belongings and not speaking the language. It can be really intimidating, especially if you're using all this kind of language that it just makes no sense. Talking about body parts and muscles, it's best to be general whenever it comes to stuff like that if you're working with a client or an athlete. And it's really important, you got to have a strong community. So if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's what has made this place really special for the people that train here. We have a really great community in the athlete group and in the adult group, people that are cheering each other on, asking each other how they're doing, how are you progressing in your goals. That's really, really important. So next time you start looking for a gym, maybe don't just look for the cheapest gym membership or the one that has the basketball court or the swimming pool. What is the facility that is going to help you get to where you want to go? Which one has the community that's going to be supportive of you even on your bad days? Which one is going to actually make you feel better when you walk out the door than when you walked through the door? When you walked out the door and when you walked through the door. You got to feel better when you leave. If people don't feel better once they leave your gym, they're not going to come back. And that's a really important part. That means not just the community, but also the programming. Is the programming smart to make you feel like, again, you didn't just get hit by a car when you leave? Being really super sore and being in pain once you leave, feeling like you're going to throw up, that might work for a couple people, but it's really for the general population, for the people that you really do want to help. They're probably not going to be into that so much. So you're going to make sure you can program properly to make them move better, get stronger, get leaner, and feel better. That's a really big one. So find your community, find your tribe. Make sure you have good social support. If you have crappy friends, do your best to continue to build that relationship. But if it's not working, it's not working. It's okay to distance yourself from people that are incredibly negative. Negative people in your life are not going to be helpful. Positive atmosphere that is conducive for change. We just talked about that. So wrapping up, change isn't easy. Your body and possibly your social circle may fight it. What is your true why? Figure that out. Talk to someone that has your total trust and fully supports you. Or for yourself, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? Why is it important to me? Okay, really, why is it important? Figure that out. Keep asking why. Or, tell me more about that. If you're having someone that wants to make a change and is telling you why this is important, say, okay, tell me more about that. You're going to really be able to dig a couple layers deeper, and that's going to allow for much more powerful behavior change and motivation. Write it all out, map it all out. Where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? What is going to allow you to get there? What's the safest possible route? That's also, sometimes we need to go around the mountain instead of right up and over it. That can be really challenging. It might be quicker, but it can also be a lot more dangerous and may lead to failure a little bit more often. And again, now what? What do we do next? That is always going to be the question, because you're going to achieve that goal. Now what? How do I make sure I don't go backwards? How do I make sure if I made all this progress, I'm doing great, what do I do next? It's really important to make sure once you achieve your goals, you have something else in front of you to achieve as well. It could be, it could be physically, it could be mentally, it could be socially. Whatever that goal might be, you got to have something else in front of you. It's why it's important to make goals. Okay, what am I going to do in the next week? What's my goal for this week? What's my goal for 4 weeks out from now? What's my goal for 6 months out from now? What's my goal from 1 year out from now? What do I want to achieve? How am I going to do it? All that stuff is really important. So for 2019, or whenever you're watching this, Make sure you take the time to properly address what your goals are. Why do you want to achieve them? How are you going to get there? All that stuff is incredibly important. Hope this was helpful. Please, if you're interested in getting more stuff like this, go to alliedstrength.com. We have a bunch of awesome educational information on there. You can reach out to us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, or kevin@alliedstrength.com. Whatever I can do to help you, just let me know. Again, I hope this was beneficial for you. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this, and I hope you have a great 2019.